Hello and welcome to the first episode of the Animaniacs, which Warner Brothers is going to be on our ass for in a couple, I would say a couple minutes, but probably the second this video goes up.
I'm sure we're safe. It's Animaniacs with a K, not a C.
Yeah. Hopefully. Anyways, so we're an anime talk show that will probably bring up all their subjects and gaming, of course. And I have my very fantastical, kind of amoral co-host.
Hey, what does that even mean? I don't even know the meaning of that.
I know you don't, that's why I said it. But anyways, Jackson here. And what is it that we're starting on today? Actually, you know what? Let's just start with just the basic stuff. So, you're just telling me you weren't feeling the Disney Plus at all, apparently. I mean, it's a free trial. I mean, you could give it just a try.
Correct, but knowing myself, I wouldn't actually remember to do the cancellation. And then at that point, it's like, oh, I forgot to cancel. Now I got charged the money, and now I don't have the money. So I get screwed. So if I had the money, and then I needed the money for something else, and I don't have it.
If you were gonna watch it, like, what were you gonna watch it for? I mean, a lot of people are going for the Mandalorian, right?
Probably for that and the old school Disney stuff, the old school cartoons and stuff.
You have like the old cartoons?
Yes.
Oh fuck, man! I'll do it.
Hey, watch your language.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Susan does not like that.
Yeah.
Anyway. To be fair, I don't think this video is going to be monetized to begin with. But anyways,
still though. Yeah, it has a lot of the old stuff. It has Gargoyles, DuckTales, Darkwing Duck. A lot of the really old Disney shows and a lot of the old Disney movies. Not just the new stuff. Apparently, from what I've been noticing, Gargoyles has been trending on the internet today because of Disney Plus.
I remember
so that actually be more helpful with the whole thing of, movies wanting to do gargoyle stuff recently. So them getting that name out there through Disney Plus might actually help.
I remember that there was like, I don't remember when exactly, there was some talks at one point of bringing back gargoyles. I really wanted to because that show was just the best.
Hey. You're talking about a show about statues that come to life at night. And you're saying that was the best. That was the best? What about the freaking show where humans were mutated and turned into sharks and then they did shark things as humans?
Nah, man. That was just a lesser version of... Remember that other show about mummies that they fight? Like they had like mystical powers and they fought.
Yeah, that's the one we don't talk about.
Oh, come on. That was great. That was way better than the shark one.
Nah, that's not. Nothing is better than sharks, and nothing is better than Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. If we're gonna actually have something be on top,
bro, I'm telling you right now, man, mummies are like 10 times better than sharks. But whatever.
All right, whatever. Well,
let's move
on from Disney Plus. Do you know what came out yesterday in movies here in America?
I believe Onosuka. That and some weird Korean movie about.
Oh, did you say Onosuka? What is that?
Oh, not Onosuka. Kobosuka? I can't pronounce the name for the love of myself now.
You can't pronounce the name?
Konosuba, right? Konosuba?
Yes, it was Konosuba. I'm actually trying to find you the name of the movie now.
Like, I guarantee we're going to get views just for people trying to download me for not remembering that name of, like...
Correct. It's called Konosuba, The Legend of Crimson. Now, if we're talking about it, do we talk about spoilers and what it's about, or do we just give our opinion on what happened?
I'm sure the 5 people who are gonna watch this video do not care by the time they actually watch this video about spoilers of the show. But if they do, you were warned. Skip to I don't know, whatever.
Skip another. I want to say another 3 minutes from now.
Alright, yeah, in 3 minutes, you better shut up about Konosuba.
I guess it was called the Crimson Dragon or something.
Look, it has like one. It has one movie. It's all the movie. Just say Konosuba movie. You don't have to say a whole name.
Oh yeah, it's called The Legend of Crimson. Uh, it's pretty much what you expect it to be. It's a longer version of an episode. It feels exactly as if you're watching an episode on TV or on the internet or on the Pirate Bay or wherever it is that you watch Konosuba. It felt exactly the same. It had the little joke thing of where they show you the name of the title, and you totally know that if it aired in Japan, that's when they would go to commercials, and they just make references about it. My entire favorite thing of the movie was I like to call it, or as the character likes to call it, his popular phase, which is ironic. Most of the movie is just based around him having the grandiose illusion that he has a popular phase because women like him now, and he's like super appealing now to women, when it's actually not entirely true. They're just taking advantage of who he is and what he can do. And, I don't know. It's just funny. But unlike a movie, they actually had a major villain, which is something unlike a TV episode, which is something you expect at the ending of the season. The beginning felt just like a beginning of a season. The midway point felt like the midpoint of the season, and then by the ending, you had the main villain fight. They fought one of the generals of the demon army, as you expect at the ending of a season, and they kick his butt.
Okay.
I will tell you something funny. You do remember in season 1 where the goddess tells you that
I know about season 1.
That she constantly keeps sending humans from Earth to that world in order to fight the Demon King, and she gives him abilities. She gives him one ability or item to take to that world, right?
Sure.
This is the funny part. By the ending of the movie, they're trying to defeat the villain, and there's only one way to do it, and then the villagers tell you that the only way they can do it, the only options that they have is that there's ruins in the outskirts of the village, and no one's been able to decipher the ruins that tell you how you stop the bad guy. When the main crew gets to the ruins, the main protagonist looks and he reads and he says, "Oh my God, this is in Japanese." And then the rest of the crew, except for the god, tells the main protagonist, "What's Japanese?" Because they're in another world, so they don't know what Japanese is.
Yeah,
and
I know.
then the goddess starts reading it, and it's fully in Japanese. And then it's explained that the goddess at one point, as one of the humans that she chose to send to that world, the thing the human chose to send with him was something called the cheat sheet. It's something that it's a power that enables him to cheat his way into whatever the situation he's going through. So the main thing is that there's an entire clan of people called the Crimson Demons, and the whole thing is that they're highly skilled magicians, and you just assume that they naturally belong in that world. But after you read the stone statue with the Japanese wording and stuff, which by the way at this point the main protagonist is closing the ears off of the girl that's with him, this kid's mage companion, because she's from that village. It explained that the human who had the cheat sheet found a bunch of humans in that world and altered their DNA. So he cheated their DNA so they would be able to harness the magic in that world and be able to use it without any weapons or any items to use it. And then he altered the structure of their eyes to make themselves look red. And then he just gave them a random name, and they felt really excited about it, and they started the clan that way, and it's just really funny to me. They also, at the beginning, before the main fight happens, they had the main villain tricked the hero. What happened?
You're about to go over 3 minutes, by the way.
I know the main hero was tricked by the main bad guy to go into the lair where the device was being held that would stop the clan. And the villain tells the guy that no one's been able to hack into the safe. And then he looks at the panel in front of him, and it's an NES controller. And then he says, "This is impossible. It can't be." But because we found out later that it's actually created by a scientist that has the cheat sheet ability, he picks up the controller, he tries the Konami code, and it activates the room. And then me and my friend are looking at each other, and we're like, That was the Konami code, wasn't it? They used the Konami code and put it in this movie just because they could. And then the bad guy gets kicked into the room. The main protagonist, freaking out, just tries the Konami code again, and the door closes shut. So the entire thing is that the entire premise is that the god sent a human, gave him the ability for cheat sheet, and used all his gaming knowledge to create a clan of people and create a safe with the Konami code, and this is really funny to me. Anyways, I try not to spoil too much or not to say very much what happens in the middle or the beginning or whatever, in case people want to watch it. But for those that did watch it, comment down below what your favorite explosion was. There were so many. Mine was the second to last one. For those that watched it, that's the one where she's casting it, and then the energy disappears into the rifle.
I love that it's like a favorite explosion.
Yes, there is literally so many explosions in this movie because they are the Crimson Demons. They're usually dealing with a lot of explosions everywhere, so there has to be a favorite explosion.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. All right, so moving on. I say we, but I really mean me. I started watching Boruto again, and like everyone else is probably doing it, they're doing it only because of the time travel arc. Everybody that bashes on Boruto is like, oh, there's a time travel arc where they go back to the original show. Yeah, we're watching this show now. So what's your opinion on that?
I feel like this time travel arc was overplayed. I feel like it was supposed to be this grand savior of the show. Oh my god, Boruto is gonna act great again, but no, it really doesn't.
The downside, I think, is that because this isn't canon, whatever happens doesn't actually affect anything.
Well, that's the thing though. It doesn't. Naruto has shown through some of its filler that it doesn't need to be canon to say an okay story. People like to bitch about.
Let me pause you for a moment, then we're gonna continue. But for people that don't know, you gotta explain to them what being canon means, because people that only watch the anime don't know what canon means.
I don't think I need to, but I will anyway.
Because there's a difference. There's a difference. You watching the anime and then the original manga content that dictates what's canon and what isn't.
Well, I like to say, to start, I don't. A lot of people like to think that the manga is the canon and that's it. But I don't think that's how it works. I like to consider the Truthian definition of canon, which is what I'm calling it now, where it's like it's whatever the creator deems to be part of the story to be canon.
Okay.
That's why I include light novels.
Sensei deemed the Boruto arc to be part of the canon?
I don't think he does, but I'm saying that because I include light novels and any other works by the creator that he used to advance the story.
So then
part of the
canon. Question begs
so I wouldn't
here.
say just manga. I'm not saying that this is canon. I'm just saying that my definition of canon is a little.
Okay, so then this begs the question: are the light novels that take place between the ending of Shippuden and the beginning of Boruto, are they canon?
I would consider them fully canon.
They're canon? But does the creator Masashi Kishimoto Sensei deem the books canon?
Well, you can't. I mean, creators can say that this is part of the story, but they don't really determine the canon as much as. It's kind of weird in the sense that we determine by canon by what advances the story and it actually gives background to the story. So it's not really what they get to decide, because if they do something that doesn't advance the story whatsoever and it's just there to be pointless, then can you really call that canon? Because it's not really doing anything for the story, right? Like, for example, Masashi Kishimoto directed 4 episodes of filler of the original Naruto Shippuden, and it was called the Episodes of Power. And it was like 4 episodes, really well animated, and then they had like this crazy version of Kabuto bringing people back from the dead, but using slimes instead of the reanimation jutsu. This was all co-directed by Masashi Kishimoto, but this isn't canon to the story. You get me? Hello? Are you there? Oh, I guess your audio turned off.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
What happened?
I don't know, my audio went out, so I had to connect my headphones.
I know, but how did your audio randomly went out?
He just told me that there was an issue. Anyways, did you pause filming or are you still filming?
No, I'm still filming.
Alright, cool.
Cut that up.
Yeah. The last part I heard you say was when you were talking about the novels, and you were saying that it's really weird because the creators can say that they're canon, but it really doesn't depend on them. That was the last part you said.
Yeah, it doesn't really depend on them because, like I was saying a moment ago, because canon really is determined by what advances the story, not really what they say is part of the story. Normally, they do follow that rule themselves. They don't really call anything that doesn't advance the story canon. For example, there is the Masashi Kishimoto and the original Shippuden did 4 episodes of filler called Power.
Okay.
And they were, of course, completely irrelevant to the story. It actually uses elements that are meant specifically for those 4 episodes, like Kabuto bringing people back from the dead and using a gel instead of like using the reanimation jutsu. Just because it was a convenient way to bring back people from the dead that just could not have been brought back normally. And how you call it? And
But
of course
that logic of if it advances the story, it's canon or not. Doesn't theoretically what's happening now advance the story?
Not really. It actually does the opposite, because this is basically going to end up in the sense of they're going to stop whatever his name is, I keep forgetting.
Oroshiki?
Oroshiki from getting Naruto in the past. And Oroshiki's going to be like, I failed, go back to the future, and then do it all over again. This is just basically a time waster with the excuse that they're going back in the past. Plus, if anything was to be worked or changed about the future, they're probably going to find a way to reverse it before they go back.
Alright, well, speaking of that, let's take a page off of a lot of YouTubers that do this. Let's deviate for a moment and let's do a what if story. Tell me what if things, what if, things in the past were to happen the way Boruto and Sasuke could have changed them. At that point deviating and creating a new timeline or something.
I mean, if they really could change things, they would definitely change. Well, basically, Sasuke leaving the village isn't really that important to the change, but them stopping Kaguya and an extension Mandara from fulfilling their plans, really, that's a big change. It can stop a lot of people from unnecessarily dying.
Correct. But specifically, let's do the what if story we were talking about the other day. What if, with adult Sasuke having all this knowledge, what if he, like you said, were to go look for Itachi, knowing where he would be in that time period, and tell him everything that was going to go down to help recruit Itachi to the cause.
I think it would
to help him.
Like I said before, I don't think it would be just Itachi. I think it would be Jiraiya, maybe even Kakashi and other ninjas that would be useful to the fight. I think telling Kakashi that Obito and Tobi are the same person and that he's still alive might have changed a couple things. I'm not sure how much he could change, but it would definitely.
Correct. But let's play on the what if scenarios here. What if adult Sasuke went and found Itachi, told him the truth about everything that was going to go down, had him and Jiraiya go look for Pain, knowing where Pain is, and with the knowledge that Sasuke has, how would that allow them to defeat Pain and change the course of history?
Well, Jiraiya, I truly believe Jiraiya could have won against Pain if he had the knowledge that he obtained at the end of that fight.
Correct.
And knowing that how Pain's powers worked would have made him more cautious when fighting his
His
other
other 6 forms.
his other 6 forms. I mean, he had already taken down 3 until he was surprised by this other person, and then pretty much immediately.
Correct. So now with Itachi's Genjutsu ability and his other secret techniques, and with adult Sasuke's knowledge, how would that play out?
I really believe that they would have easily taken Nagato, and then it would be just a question of Jiraiya using Seijutsu to find the real Nagato. Maybe even talking him out of the situation. Now, while I believe that Naruto is the only one that's allowed in the show to fully use the most powerful ninjutsu in the world, which is Tokno Jutsu, I do believe Jiraiya could have at least given him a conversation, especially after defeating him. I feel like he would be more susceptible to like whatever Jiraiya tells him.
That, and you gotta admit that Sasuke being Naruto's right-hand man, he should at least have at least 1 or 2 times where the Takkajutsu should be passed by him. You can allow him to do it.
No, I think Sasuke is just like there to be a giant brooding emo bastard. He's there so that Nagato can be like, you're being that guy right now. You're being that guy.
All right. So if they recruit Nagato and get him to their side, and now knowing everything, Sasuke, who would probably still be recovering, because at least so far in the episodes he hasn't fully recovered, you'd have Jiraiya look for Toby, and at that point you could bring Kakashi and tell him what happened, and with all of them there, how would that play out?
I think Kakashi and Itachi working together to fight Obito, they could, especially Kakashi knowing that's Obito, him using that as a surprising factor could really give them the edge they need. Because at the end of the day, all they have to do is beat Obito before Madara gets revived. That also means
they're too far. They're not far enough in the story. I mean, for Toby to even be anywhere near realizing his plan. So Madara being revived is still way too out of the question, because this is still original Naruto.
They need to take out Kabuto, though. They need to remove Kabuto out of the picture as soon as possible, though.
But at this moment, Kabuto is still with Orochimaru.
Yeah, so you want to take out Orochimaru and Kabuto at once. You want those to be removed, because if you don't remove them right away, if they find out anything or they think that anything's fishy, they might go ahead and revive a lot of different people. Like, this is the part I never really understood about Orochimaru. Kabuto clearly had a fucking giant army of massively overpowered shinobis. They could have easily wrecked any village by themselves by working with that, and Orochimaru never did. And I feel like if he was to know that there was a danger coming for him, that he would have activated that, like a failsafe or something.
Right.
So yeah, it's hilarious that we're talking about ninjas while I'm playing Ninja Gaiden and I keep dying. Hilarious.
It's fine. Just use Takkajutsu on them and you'll be fine.
I don't think they want to talk, but okay. Anyways, but yeah, no. After defeating Toby, really that's where it ends. Because
but we gotta go back now because you're including Orochimaru in this. If you include Orochimaru in any of this, what happens to Sasuke as a child? He was with Orochimaru.
Well, I mean, you can say the same thing I said before, where it's like I guess adult Sasuke can have a conversation with younger Sasuke and maybe showing him through Genjutsu like all the mistakes he made. Maybe he can change his mind. If he doesn't, I mean, kill Orochimaru and then I don't know. Sasuke just needs to go Sukodo himself. What is it? Sudoku himself.
Sudoku. I still feel that because this is young Sasuke, you can show him all the Genjutsu you want, but I feel that the young Sasuke would still need to experience the situations and the events that led to adult Sasuke becoming who he is.
That might be true, but
so I feel like he would still be looking for revenge with Itachi, because at the end of the day, he could still believe that this is one of Itachi's tricks.
Well, he completely believed, but that's the thing, though. It's not like he himself is there, and I'm pretty sure he could tell that is his older self, one way or another. Plus, I mean, Toby easily changed his mind on what he was gonna do after defeating Itachi. So I'm pretty sure if a random douchebag can change your mind on everything and make you like your brother, I'm pretty sure that your brother plus some random douchebag can change your mind to be less of an, you know.
All right. So going back on this, if you're to try to stop the Akatsuki from fulfilling their plans, I'm pretty sure that'll make them hurry with their plans. And one of the things we mentioned before was if that's going to work out that way, then you'd want the villages to protect the tailed beast as much as possible, which is where what you said is true. Using Sasuke's like genjutsu, you can have everybody that's important in the villages see the future speech of Gaara, and then see the Ninja Alliance, and then have the heads of the villages kind of secretly work together to protect their tailed beasts.
I think you won't want to put the speech from Toby, not Gaara.
Probably that too.
Oh, Fred. Yeah, I mean,
But yeah,
and that like friendship speech is not gonna do much if like they still kind of hate each other. You need to have a purpose to fight.
yeah, you show them the Madara one actually. Yeah, there you go.
You would also.
And then you'd have them protect their tailed beasts.
I feel like out of everyone, when they united, the first person they should kill is Satsu immediately.
Black Zetsu and White Zetsu.
Both actually.
Yes.
I mean, if you're gonna kill one, might as well kill both.
Correct. So, knowing all of this, and knowing how this is going to change, what happens now? What happens to adult Sasuke, and what happens to Boruto, and what happens to the timeline? Because we talked about this as well, where if Naruto learns of his future early, and you show Kurama the future that could be, then that makes Kurama and Naruto friendly earlier in time, making, sad as it seems, making the whole fourth Hokage and Naruto's mom having parts of their soul in Naruto for specific moments in time irrelevant. It still enables Naruto to go into Kurama mode earlier in time, which is something he wouldn't have done until the events of Shippuden.
I mean, the biggest point here really is that whether or not they're changed or things are different because of everything that happened is really just irrelevant, because like their problems are not world problems. Sure, their problems help them become heroes to the world, but they're irrelevant if you have already solved the problems of the world. If Naruto doesn't properly end up controlling the Nine Tails, if he becomes evil, if Sasuke is still a giant testicle bag at the end of Shippuden, that's all irrelevant because you have saved the world from Kaguya. Now, whether they end up bringing Kaguya back in one way or another through their own mistakes, yeah, I guess you can say that can still happen, but I mean, the point here is if Sasuke can change the future. I mean, if he can change, I guess technically his present. And I think he can. I think he can stop Kaguya from coming. I don't think he might be able to fully stop himself from becoming a villain. I don't think he can help Naruto become better earlier. But I do think he can definitely stop Kaguya from coming.
Alright, and I'm going to flash forward even more for a moment for the people that read the manga, where you're telling me now that they're fighting the Otsutsuki Prince. Imagine the events that we've talked about, and having Naruto become stronger earlier, having Sasuke unlock his powers earlier, having all these villages united and trained. Even though Sasuke of the anime and Boruto of the anime don't know of the Otsutsuki Prince, but the fact that these characters trained earlier and got stronger earlier, how do you think they would fare having all these people come back? Added to the fact as well that because Sage the Sixth Path Grandpa didn't come back for Kaguya, and he said he'd only ever come back one more time, do you think that him coming back at the ending for the Prince fight would actually do anything? Well, since that would be his one-time comeback, like he explained.
Even with Kaguya, he didn't actually interfere. The only thing he did was keep Naruto and Sasuke alive and give them part of his power, but he himself didn't interfere in the fight whatsoever. So even if he was to be there, at best, it would be to give them their full potential, right?
Correct. And imagine their full potential in a point in time when they're already way stronger than they should have been. because they
think-
trained earlier.
I think nothing changes. Nothing changes. They
But why?
they at this point in time they're basically gods. As they are right now, they're basically gods.
But
and I-
imagine them being gods earlier and having more time to practice.
I
and
mean,
being
there's
gods.
there's a subjective term of how much you can train and become better. If Naruto develops a ninjutsu, he is better, but he's only better because he has a new option. The thing is, there's no new options that can be given to Naruto or Sasuke unless they develop freaking auto win no jutsu, like out of their butts. There's absolutely nothing they can pull that would even them out against this guy. This guy is completely on another level. Clearly the strongest that they ever fought. And by the way, this also puts the writers of Boruto in a big hole because I do not see how they can possibly like explain away if Boruto is the one that's supposed to defeat this guy, how he's going to do it. Yeah, I see that they're trying to go, maybe he's going to learn Otsutsuki powers, but I don't think that's enough.
And
No.
what if you bring back the 10 tails? You get all the tails, you put them inside of a host, and I get it that you normally would go wild, but with the abilities of the Rinnegan, you can tame a 10 tails. And
The 10
imagine
tails-
taming a 10 tails fighting the prince.
And Ten Tails is supposed to be basically the skeleton of Kaguya's returning. So I would never try to do that because that could spell Kaguya. By the way, I hope everybody watching is enjoying me dying for like the 50th time through the half bar of this boss because this is literally the worst goddamn boss battle ever. But anyways, how you call it? But yeah, no, I just don't see how that would help more than possibly bring Kaguya back. And we don't really want Kaguya back.
No, not at all.
Except
So-
this guy really thinks she's hot for some reason.
So there's no official way that you think, even with the what if scenarios that we've posed here, that they would have a surviving chance.
I'm gonna go as far as saying you can give Naruto and Sasuke that goddamn Dragon Balls and they would not be able to do anything against this guy.
But why?
Because this guy, okay, like this guy is, I would say that this is also technically just bad writing on their part, but this guy, even being a glass canyon as he is, he just snap devastated Naruto and Sasuke like that, like nothing, like just didn't even bother trying.
Yeah,
Sure.
but you mentioned before you've
From-
mentioned before that he's one of those people because he's using a vessel that if you can have the battle drag on, they might have a surviving chance.
Actually,
So imagine if they had Naruto's Sage of the Six Paths healing techniques that he did during his fight to be able to auto heal themselves consistently every time until they wore out the opposing prince.
He does has powers, and that's not the point. I wasn't saying they could survive. I'm saying that they could survive long enough to run away. The problem with this fight is that they didn't even have time to run away. There was no option. The only reason why Sasuke was able to get away was because Naruto pretty much saved his ass by sacrificing himself in exchange for Sasuke escaping.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't. All you would be able to do is buy enough time to maybe run away.
All
That's
right.
not-
Well, okay, we'll do another what if. This worked with Kaguya. The reverse harem no jutsu actually worked long enough to do something.
Yeah, it's absolutely.
Do you
not.
think the regular harem no jutsu could do something?
Look, unless they bring up some overlord up in this here, some overlord waifus, it's not gonna happen. It's really not gonna happen.
There's
It's
really
just
no
not-
way.
There's really no way, no.
And not even the Sage of the Six Paths Grandpa's like sealing techniques that were those supposed to be used on Kaguya wouldn't even work on the prince.
He was barely able to like seal Kaguya with those techniques. I don't think those techniques would work against someone who can make Kaguya look like a slacker.
Okay. Okay, so there's no way that we can think of. What if Sasuke at that time, when he's fighting the prince, realizes that he somehow still kept the turtle device that allowed him to teleport, and then he absorbs some of the Otsutsuki's power, and then transports himself and Naruto back in time. to a moment in time before the events took place.
Well, time travel, it could be an option to defeating him. My thing is actually, the best way to explain this fight is it's basically the Jiraiya versus Pain fight of Boruto's generation.
Okay,
Jiraiya
why?
wasn't able to win because he didn't know of a way to fight Nagato. Right? That's the thing here. There is, as far as any of us know, there's absolutely no way to beat the prince other than outlasting his attacks and running away.
Uh-huh.
That's the same thing with Pain. Like, Jiraiya's only option at the time was trying to run away, but he couldn't because he needed to find information of how to defeat him.
Right.
That's kind of the same thing that I feel that's going to happen here with Naruto. He's going to have to, his time pretty much gone, he's going to have to invest it in finding a way to defeat this guy. And he might not come back from this actually alive.
So he's gonna be the Jiraiya of the generation.
I believe so.
I expected the
I
Jiraiya
believe-
generation to be
Maybe not
Sasuke,
dying.
since Sasuke is Boruto Sensei.
The thing is, when it comes to like who, even though Sasuke is like portrayed as this very selfless, self-sacrificing ninja that does all this dangerous work for the Leaf Village, at the end of the day, Naruto is the one who's willing to sacrifice it all to protect the Konoha. And he's shown that he's willing to sacrifice it not just for Konoha, but also for his teammates. That's why Sasuke got away in this scenario, because Naruto gave it all he could so that at least Sasuke could get away.
Okay.
So that's the same thing here. I believe that if it's not that Sasuke couldn't be, it's just that Naruto would do it first.
I guess. But with going back to the what if, time travel would probably be the best way to do it, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't want to argue for that because it's just semantics at that point. If you can time travel, you can fix anything, and it becomes just the worst possible writing.
Correct. But I mean, that's what they're doing in Boruto now, and that's the whole basis of this what if story.
No, but it's not the same. It's if you give them the ability to time travel whenever they want, as much time as you want.
Oh, as opposed to this being a one-time scenario where it just randomly happened.
Like for example, they went back into the past, but they have no solution. They don't even know how they're gonna come back.
Correct.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure you're gonna beat the enemy to a pulp and get him to tell them how to do it, and then they'll do it. And then the guy escapes.
Either that or Onosuke is gonna, or whatever his name is gonna figure out that he can't really do anything. Oh my god, I hate myself so goddamn much. This is the worst boss battle ever. And when you see this video, you're gonna see why I hate this boss battle so hard.
I guess so.
But anyways, okay, so let's move on from Naruto because it's getting a little tedious in the same conversation. Let's talk about I guess up and coming anime.
Okay, sure. Up and coming anime. Talk about Seven Deadly Sins. That's up and coming, right? I just started watching that today.
That up and coming. That's already out. That's the season's already coming in.
Well, to me, that's up and coming because someone forgot to tell me that it was out. So to me, that's new.
That was 90% a mistake and 10% I didn't care.
Sure.
It's 100% sure.
Sure. Next time, y'all better not say that I do nothing for y'all. I binged the entirety of whatever's out for the season in less than 3 hours.
Oh, such a sacrifice. You're a hero, Naruto.
Yeah. So now I know everything that happened because I just caught up to the anime. Cool.
Yeah, so we're not gonna have any spoilers for that now because I didn't catch up.
No, exactly. No spoilers for that, but I do at least want to clarify some things. Even though we're not gonna talk directly about the show, since we're on the topic. What happened with the change in the animation studio?
Like I said before, I'm pretty sure it's the usual Shonen Jump shenanigans where it's like, we have to animate this show. I mean, it's popular enough to animate the next season, but it's not popular enough.
Well, what happened with last season? Last season they had a good animation studio. Not to complain that this studio isn't good, is that they had a better studio last season.
You gotta negotiate contracts with the animation studios and everything. There's 112 reasons why this could have gone sour, Mainly, I believe it has something to do with like them not wanting to spend as much money as they did season before, or them just not, or maybe the animation studio didn't think that the money that we're making in comparison to the work they were doing was enough, and maybe they decided to move on to a different project, and they ended up having to find someone else. Either way, this somehow involved money. That's all I can say.
All right. Now going back to the whole new animation studio, a lot of people are really disappointed that, and not disappointed, but they're really angry that there's a lot of censoring now with this season. Instead of having, as the example would be, this is a very not child-friendly show. It's demons, fairies, giants, all these people, all these mystical creatures that are not meant for children, and they're being overly sexualized and overly brutalized. You're bound to see blood and guts and gore. But this season they've toned it down and they whitewashed it. There's a bunch of censoring for blood. Why?
I don't know the specific reason why. It could have been that. I mean, Netflix is putting their money in, and I think that they might want to do something about censoring, but I really don't see the point unless they're really trying to push this for kids. Which good luck with that.
Yeah, but, because in some instances you still see blood, like blood dripping from their face, but in the instances when they're coughing up the blood, it's still white. It reminds me a lot of Danganronpa, where their blood was pink for some reason. It's the same thing here, but instead it's white, and in some instances it's still red.
That was an artistic reason in Danganronpa. I mean, the biggest thing was that they knew that the game was going to be rated mature if they didn't change the color of the blood, and the artist just wanted to be able to like still portray blood, so they decided, you know what, this whole thing is really has a special anime feel, might as well give the blood a special anime feel. But
reminds me of Konosuba, when any character decides that they've drank too much and got hungover and they throw up, instead of actual throw up, it's actually rainbow. It's just they're spewing out rainbow.
It's not a Konosuba thing. In every anime thing.
I'm just saying, because I'm watching Konosuba right now, and even in the movie, it's just they're whenever they throw up, it's just rainbows everywhere, and it's really funny.
Oh yeah, most anime do that just because someone knows and wants to see an actual throw up.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Except if you're Excel Saga.
Do they actually?
Fine.
Do they actually?
Yes. By the way, I'm switching to Apex because that was bullshit.
Hey! Watch your language. You're trying to get monetized at some point.
You can demonetize me all you want. That was bull, and you know it.
Just do a Scott Pilgrim reference at that point. Just say Bolor or something.
Without getting like bazooka to death. I'm a ninja. I can't fight a jet. It just doesn't work.
You're a ninja. You should be able to do anything.
Whatever.
Naruto does anything.
That only works.
Naruto literally does anything, and Naruto blinks, and then the world gets saved. Come on.
Maybe, just maybe, just once. This once.
Well, everybody gets one, I guess. Tell him, Peter.
Everybody gets one. But anyways, let's moving on. Forget Konosuba. Forget. I don't know what the hell we were talking about. We were talking about
Naruto. And then Seven Deadly Sins and their whole censoring.
Yeah, well, you know what? I really can't tell you why they're censoring the series. As far as I understand it, there's no reason to. I mean, there's a fair amount of TV shows that are coming out now that have massive amounts of blood. I mean, I can think of at least 6 at the top of my head. To mention that
I'm also having issues with the subbing. Some of the subbing gets mixed up with the subbing that's supposed to be meant for the Indonesian American viewers. So a lot of the translations sometimes get mixed back and forth, and it doesn't have really good quality for when you're trying to read and watch and have an understanding of what's going on.
I feel like that's just something we're gonna have to get over with. I mean, that's how it works. The people who sub this stuff is people who dedicate themselves to translating this stuff for other fans. I mean, you can't really push them. Unless it's Fundamination, then you can tell them to fuck off.
You're right. All right.
I'm sorry. Don't demonetize me.
All right, all right, all right, all right. I think it's time we address.
I won my $1. I won my $1. So
Fine, you can spend the $1 at McDonald's. I heard they're doing the, or is it Wendy's? They're doing the $1 large fries or something. Anyways, I think it's time we address the elephant in the room.
what elephant?
I think everyone's been excited for it, and I think it's time we talk about it. Season 4.
Oh,
I've read the manga. I'm fully caught up. I really, really just want to say this is my favorite arc, and I have no more things to talk about it anymore because I know everything. But for people that only watch the anime, address the elephant in the room. Tell us about season 4.
I'm gonna say most controversial thing than this YouTube channel so far. I don't give a fuck about. There's absolutely no way this episode's getting monetized or whatever. But I do not care about My Hero Academia season 4. I just don't.
Why? It's my favorite arc. They introduce a bunch of characters. Yes, some of them don't get more progression than this season, but still, it's my favorite arc. It's where Deku and a lot of the heroes in training, the kids, get a lot of the character progression more than they did before.
Okay, first of all, giant spoiler signs here, but no. It's not that I don't care for the show because it's not good or anything like that. I just don't care for it because what I like to call the Death Note effect.
What's the Death Note
The
effect?
fanboys that are fanboying over it are so excited and so annoying about it. I just don't want to hear about it. I'm going to wait until the season's over and then I'm going to eventually catch up. Just like should have done a long time ago, but I still haven't. But I will.
Wait, what season are you on?
I'm missing only like one season beyond the season's coming on now. But I just didn't feel like watching it because I was getting a lot of like people online just constantly being, this is the greatest freaking shonen created ever, and if you like anything but this, it is the worst. And then you also have the JoJo fanboys who are like, JoJo is the best, it's even better than this, and then they go out somewhere and mate, and then you get a Nintendo fanboy.
A Nintendo fanboy, which reminds me, I think the people who wrote the Konosuba movie really like JoJo because they tried really hard to implement the JoJo-esque character in there. The father of the mage of the crew, her name is Megumin. Her dad like oozes JoJo. He has the poses, he has the hat, the hair. He looks exactly like you'd expect him to be a Joestar.
You gotta understand that most animes in Japan have, to a certain degree, a good amount of respect on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I mean, love it or hate it, the anime has been around for a long time, and it has been able to just build this cult following that are probably more religious than Mormons when it comes to.
So, are you willing to say that their cult following is so huge that it could rival even the Gundam fandom?
No,
Or no?
no. I mean,
Why?
their cult following is special because the thing is, like, their fans are so obsessive about the show itself and how amazing the show is, where the Gundam community concentrates on the Gundams they like. The people, we're more split on what we like on the show, and we
Okay.
don't push Gundam blindly.
All right. So then I gotta ask,
You
what's
call
more
it a butthead, you're gonna get killed somewhere.
right? But I gotta ask then, what's more respected? You're talking about JoJo being heavily respected, and sometimes they pay homage in their shows and movies. But what's more respected in Japan, the things that made JoJo's Bizarre Adventure such a classic, or the things that made Gundam such a classic?
I think it's a little different here because what a lot of shows are doing now to kind of like pretty much how you call it, they're trying to play an homage to JoJo with random scenes that they put in the shows. Those are not because JoJo was great and that's it. It's because JoJo was able to come back and gasp a larger popularity than they had before. This is a newfound popularity that they didn't have before. That's what I'm saying. And where Gundam has always had its fandom. So they're always gonna be little Gundam and Dragon Ball and all that stuff in different shows. They're gonna have
Right.
like they're gonna have little sketches for that stuff, but the recent like explosion of JoJo is because of the recent success of the series and how they believe that it was really incredible that such an older series can come back and blow up. I mean, we only see that with like Hunter x Hunter.
Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah, like that was another show that was really popular back in the day, came back, and people just die. Like they wanted this show, they loved this show. I can't.
I feel like it's the same thing for Yu Yu Hakusho. When all these OVAs were announced, everybody was clamoring for a revival and a new reboot, a new season.
Yes, of course, but there was nowhere near the love for Yu Yu Hakusho as there was for Hunter x Hunter. Even now, there isn't. Unfortunately, there just isn't. If you talk to people about how much they care about Hunter x Hunter, I guarantee you that they would be mentioned 1,000 times more than Yu Yu Hakusho. And I feel that that's a goddamn shame because I'm gonna say it right now. We're gonna get 10 viewers that are gonna be here just to like downvote this video. But Hunter x Hunter is irrelevant, and I don't care. It's a bad series. You should have concentrated in advancing Yu Yu Hakusho, and then if you guys want, you can get Hunter x Hunter on the side when we're done with Yu Yu Hakusho. Cutting Yu Yu Hakusho because he was sick, I understand that, but giving so much more love to Hunter x Hunter, you can go. I'm not gonna say it because Susan is already mad at me, and I'm gonna
all right. So I gotta ask because we're on the topic of Hunter x Hunter. You gotta tell me, Hunter x Hunter or Dot Hack?
Dot Hack.
Why?
Because it's just. I really like the mysticism of Dot Hack, and I mean it is in a sense the original gaming isekai, right? And at least a couple of the shows before it really went fully pretentious. At least a couple of the shows had that, like, oh my god, what's the mystery? Why are people disappearing? Why is this guy looking for his sister in the game? Did she really die, or did he really die, and stuff like that? It's all this stuff that I feel like gave it so much more. The same reason you would write. I mean, all those animes in the 90s. They had these crazy storylines that you didn't understand fully, but they were like so mysterious. You wanted to keep watching more. Escryad. Just throwing it out there.
All right. So this is the other one then. The very, very, very first episode of Dot Hack, or the entirety of Sword Art Online? I mean that as a genuine question.
I'd rather carve my eyes out with a rusty.
But come on, it's just one episode as opposed to an entire series.
I can describe the entirety of Sword Art Online like this. We're gonna say a whole lot of nothing for like 14 episodes, solve everything in 2, and then we'll include a rape scene.
At this point, that sounds a lot like Berserk. Include a rape scene and then figure out what to do after that.
Well, by the way, you just really pissed off Susan by saying the R word, but let's
I mean, you said it first, so I'm just following suit.
Most controversial statement of the month, the year, the goddamn year at this point. Berserk knows how to treat rape with class. I'm sorry, but it's true. It's like in Berserk, the world, they do all these things, and they're horrible and evil, and that's the thing, though. It's like Game of Thrones, right? Like you expect in Game of Thrones, like to be this incest and all this horrible things happening because the world already set it up that way. It's the same with Berserk. You expect there to be the worst of the worst. I mean, you're not only talking about humans acting horribly, you're talking about literal demons who eat, rape, and pillage everything they could find.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
We just got Super Saiyan demonetized for this.
Anyways, we should be wrapping up soon, but I felt that I should save this for last, since My Hero Academia is a very touchy subject when people that only watch the anime and they don't want to hear anything else, and they will usually downvote anything or ignore or not watch anything related to the manga. So I completely understand. So I'm saving this for last, but I want to talk about the newest, the newer stuff that's happening in the manga, really quick. And being honest, I don't know how to feel about Endeavor as a character right now, because they tried really hard within the last few arcs where he was kind of like the main focus of them. The last arc that just happened was a villain arc, so he wasn't in it. But the arc prior to that and the newer arc were centered around him, and they tried really hard to show him as a person who he is outside of being a hero. And they try to give him redemption, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and he's like, "Oh, I'm understanding what All Might felt and what he meant."
Being an abusive father and
Correct. And, he
and
tries to see it from All Might's perspective now that he's the number one hero, and they try really hard to give him a redemption, saying how he feels sorry for everything that he did, and how he wants to better himself for his family. And they talked a little bit about it last season. Last arc that he was in, and now they're bringing it back this arc. But every time that he's present with his family, and every time that he's allowed to express himself outside and with the outside world, he does nothing but portray how much of a dick he is, and all of that character development that he has with his internal monologues kind of go out the window. He kind of reminds me of Bakugo in that sense, which is very ironic, because they tried really hard in this arc to say that Bakugo and Endeavor are pretty similar in that regard. They usually just speak freely and don't even think about what they're saying.
here's the thing: no one cares that Bakugo can speak freely or that Endeavor is a giant dick. The biggest problem here is that they're not just dicks; they're massive, massive cunts. I see this freely because of those rape comments. We can pretty much say anything at this point, and
but that's my shtick.
But
Like, I want to feel for Endeavor, but then when he reverts himself back and starts being such a dick,
he
I
doesn't.
don't know how to feel.
He doesn't deserve for you to feel like him. I don't understand people who feel that the Bakugo should be someone they deserve to admire. It's like, yeah, he's a bully and an asshole. He never learned anything. Oh, he's such a lovable character. No, it isn't. Calling him a tsundere is an insult to tsunderes. It's not. He's not a male tsundere. He's a male asshole. He doesn't do anything to help the main characters besides giving them a hard time.
Recently, because now he knows the Deku secret. Well, all of this is spoilers, so I'm not gonna say it at this point anymore. But now that he knows this Deku secret, he tries to be helpful in his mean way. Like, he'll yell at Deku and tell him, "Hey, go eat a dick, but fix your pose and do this and do that, and maybe if you were just a smidge faster." They're kind of backhanded compliments in his own mean way, but Deku looks at them and he acknowledges that they're actually helpful criticisms.
I don't know about that. I think Deku is positive about everything in life, so I don't really think you can use that as Bakugo is helping him.
Correct.
Bakugo could be fucking his mom, and he would be like, "Thanks, Bakugo. I really appreciate that."
Yeah, but still, going back with the Endeavor thing, like, he's acknowledging that he hurt his wife, he's acknowledging that he's distanced himself from his children, but and I start feeling for him, and then bam, he immediately starts like hating on them and yelling at them and being a dick to them, and then I'm like, but you just said you wanted to be closer to them. Why are you being this way? That makes no sense to me, and I feel very, I can't decide whether to feel or hate at that point.
I don't think you need to really consider that. I feel like you're completely allowed to hate these characters because they are just really shitty. I don't feel anyone has justification to say that Bakugo is a good character or that Endeavor has. I mean, we're talking about the fact that Endeavor beat his wife repeatedly just so he could force her to obey him. I mean, this is going to be super controversial, but like, are we entirely sure that she was even willingly having sex with him at that point? Because she really didn't like him at all.
Yeah,
She was
you're not wrong.
terrified. Like, there's a real argument to be made here whether Endeavor's Toriyama's mom. Do we have a name for her, Mari? I don't even remember anymore.
I don't remember, but I know that we've seen her before in the anime and in the
I know
manga. We've seen her several
I
different
don't think we
times.
have a name for her yet, but I feel like
If we do, tell us in the comments below.
yeah, someone probably. But I do feel that she was abused, and you can tell me all day long that you love Endeavor. You would never have done that, but Endeavor was willing to beat her so she wouldn't talk back to him. Are you telling me that she wasn't going to be willing to do something even more horrible to like force her? I mean, she was clearly having kids with Endeavor, even though she hated him, just because he wanted to have the perfect child. Like, I mean, this is not.
I feel like at the end that was like the perfect response from life itself. He wanted to have a child that would rival All Might, and then All Might went and retired after passing on to Deku.
And the child lives by All Might's wishes. He wants to be like All Might. He doesn't want to be like Endeavor. I feel like this. That's a punishment that should never just freely. He shouldn't really be free from it. And I hate to go back to the whole thing, but I really believe that I don't know. I just really think that I'm not comfortable with now realizing that it could have been pretty bad. Like, what happened to his mother and stuff. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, anyways, we're about to end it, but I am gonna say that by the ending of that chapter, it's acknowledged that Todoroki says that he is contemplating forgiving his father, but he doesn't know when he's gonna be ready to do that because he doesn't know if he's still battling with himself whether he should or he shouldn't. And then at the ending, you see Endeavor overhear this, and then he feels like a little weight lifted from his soul because he hears him. He says, "Oh, Shoto's considering forgiving me. I never thought this day would come." So there's that too, and he might be ready. Might not be ready to forgive him yet, but the fact that that he's thinking about it, that's a big step forward for that particular character.
I mean, that's definitely a big change at the very least.
Anyways, we're gonna sign off now, but stay tuned for next week. We're gonna be talking about Ruby because the new season came out, and we could have talked about it now, but we forgot about that.
Well, that and I refuse to watch Ruby now. I mean,
it's fine. I'll talk about it a little bit. We'll mostly be talking about the changing in voice actors for Crow, and talking about how how voice actor becomes someone that's been there for several different seasons. And I'm pretty sure you, from knowing that perspective of voicing and acting, how someone goes about interacting with something where there already is an established group of people, and then you become part of them.
Yeah, that's a heck of a controversy to talk on that one.
Yeah, we don't have to necessarily talk about Vic. We can just talk about the new voice actor, and how he what you from your perspective, how he would feel coming into an established group and having these high expectations put upon himself. But anyways, that's something for another time.
Yeah, that's gonna have to be a loaded conversation. But also, hopefully, by the time that we go to the next episode next week, we will also be caught up in that. And next week, we're gonna throw the anime. Well, Seven Deadly Sins, but also we're gonna throw the anime roulette, and you and me are gonna throw down with a random anime, and you're gonna tell me how you're gonna like that.
For sure.
Anyways,
Sure.
all right. This is Kamina-san, Kamina-kun,
You mean
And-
Kami Sentai?
Kami Sentai. Oh god, you're making a joke, aren't you?
Yeah, bro. Kami Sentai, bro. Totally.
Tokyo Kami Sentai. Doo-doo-doo-doo.
What are you at
Okay.
this point? A Kamen Rider that became a Sentai?
I'd rather be hentai common.
How about no?
I'll put my. I'll get those elastic underwears up in there.
All right. Kami Hentai. I mean Sentai. Don't get your underwear in a bunch.
We'll try not to. Anyways, this is it. Signing off. Have a good day, everybody.